For thousands of people around the world, this brief clip of music brings to mind only one thing. For over 8 years, the fictional world of Paragon City and the Rogue Isles served as a means of escape into a place where limitations were set only by one's imagination. They lived in a city of heroes. They are heroes, and this is what they do. Developed by Cryptic Studios and published by NCSoft, City of Heroes released in North America on April 27, 2004. When people think of a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, or MMORPG, most think of the gaming juggernaut World of Warcraft, or one of the many other MMOs that follow the sword and sorcery fantasy theme, like EverQuest, Guild Wars, or RuneScape. In a genre dominated by the fantasy theme, City of Heroes dared to be different. It instead took its inspiration from comic book heroes and created its own identity. At the time of its release, the level of customization given to its players was unparalleled. For the first time, a character's appearance wasn't dominated by its class, stats, or gear. The possibilities for unique characters were virtually limitless. This was only the beginning of City of Heroes' revolutionary mechanics. It was also the first game to feature a sidekick system, where players could artificially increase or decrease their effective level so that they could run through content with friends at a different level than their own. City of Heroes set a precedent for providing new content to its players. It currently holds a Guinness World Record for the largest amount of free content in an MMO. Where World of Warcraft had 4 major paid expansions, City of Heroes had 23 free major updates, alongside only 1 standalone expansion in City of Villains, and 1 paid expansion in Going Rogue. Each free update, known as issues, like issues of a comic book, brought new content and mechanics that continually improved upon the game. Issue 2 introduced the badge system, an achievement system similar to the Xbox or PlayStation, not seen in MMOs prior to it. Issue 4 introduced player versus player. Issue 9 introduced a crafting mechanic to improve your character's abilities. Issue 11 introduced the flashback system, allowing players to go back and play through content they had reached too high a level to play otherwise. Issue 13 introduced the day job system, providing an offline character with benefits that could be redeemed when the player logs back in. Issue 14 introduced the architect system, giving the power of making story arcs and missions to the players, letting them share adventures of their own creation with their friends and the community. Issue 17 improved the game's dated graphics to make it more visually appealing. Issue 19 introduced Incarnates, a new in-game system allowing a max-level character to continue improving themselves. And in Issue 21, the game went free to play. Again, it set a new precedent. Where many games had a microtransaction store, City of Heroes was the first to provide all of its microtransactions both in bundles and as individual items, so players could pay for just the things they wanted and not everything at once. Possibly the most impressive note of its achievements was how it remained a staple of MMO gaming with a marketing budget that was all but non-existent. Publisher NCSoft did little to advertise the game after it launched, not even after purchasing the game completely from Cryptic Studios in 2007 and forming Paragon Studios to continue development, instead leaving it up to the community to get the word out. Even in the face of superhero MMOs with popular licenses such as Champions Online and DC Universe Online that launched in its later years, City of Heroes remained the most renowned of the bunch, even sparking relationships in the real world between players who met, married, and started families. It's not exaggerating to say there are lives that would not exist today if not for City of Heroes. The game and its developers did everything right. It's not difficult to see that when NCSoft unceremoniously announced the game's termination in late August 2012, just before the game's 24th major update was scheduled to release, that the community of tens of thousands was in an uproar. The game's developers had plans to delve further into story arcs that were in development all the way back to issue 11. They were finishing up issue 24 and beginning work on issue 25. The future of the game never looked brighter. Then suddenly, without warning to the community, it was over. Development on the game ceased, Paragon Studios was disbanded, and the servers were to be shut down in 3 months' time. NCSoft refused to comment on its reasons. As far as anyone was aware, the game was still operating in the green. It was a small profit, but still a profit. The player base was steady and happy. Despite all the positives, it seemed that NCSoft just didn't care. Within days, the community rallied, starting a fight to save the game from its untimely demise. Petitions were started and rapidly gained signatures. Letters were sent, pleading to NCSoft's management to rethink their position. A fund was started, gathering over $1,000 in a matter of hours to buy dinner for the Paragon Studios developers. A rally was held in the game, bringing over 3,000 heroes and villains together at once. The rally's turnout put enough strain on the server to force it to spawn 33 instances of Atlas Park, one of the game's most iconic locations, just to hold all the players present. For the last few months of the game, Atlas Park 33 became a symbol of hope. While the other instances were left to fade away after the rally was over, a constant vigil was kept in AP33, maintaining its existence until the very end. The community refused to give up, refused to go quietly, but again, NCSoft didn't care. They claimed all attempts to save the game had been depleted, despite many interested parties publicly stating they were denied even an audience with the company. Eventually, November 30th, 2012 came, and the players gathered together once more in Paragon City to say their final goodbyes. Shortly after midnight, leading into the 1st of December, the servers were disconnected one by one, and the lights went out in Paragon City for the last time. However, the community continues to work diligently. Some players began development on new games that would serve as spiritual successors. Some players got together a pitch package they sent to major companies such as Disney and Google, attempting to convince them of the game's merits. They continue fighting, not giving up, refusing to say no. They persist because they are heroes, and this is what they do.